Welcome to Conversations with K and J. We're your hosts, Kayla and Janae.
And here we talk about love, life,
and lessons learned. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Daily Doses of Conversations with Kayla
and Janae.
And today's energy is speaking on moving beyond your old ways. There comes a point in time where our old ways of thinking and being cease to work. We get comfortable and feel safe, and then all of a sudden we're forced to change. Not to say our old ways are bad, but no growth comes from comfort and staying the same. Sometimes we are awake enough to hear the whispers from the universe telling us it's time to change. Other times we don't hear, and the universe takes matters into its own hands, forcing us to change. Let us move beyond our old ways into a new, more awake version of ourselves. So, have you ever experienced a time where you feel like you didn't get the wake-up call and you were forced to see something or to change?
No, I think there's always signs leading up to the change that you have to make. And whether you make that change or not, I feel like there was times where I was just forced, like...
You was pushed out there.
Yeah, God is just like, if you ain't going to do it, I'm going to do it. And it's going to probably be in the most horrible way possible to you, but... like, it forces you to change. He's just telling you, like, it's time. You've been waiting off. You putting it off. You making excuses for it, and now it's just there's no excuse. It's time.
Yeah.
Because you just like you prolonging your journey.
And it's also because you get to a point of praying and manifesting or asking for something more or something different or trying to work towards things that may not be manifesting in your reality, and it is because those changes need to be made. And it's kind of like what we discussed in the collective this week about, I was speaking on the TikTok that we seen of the girl who did the ayahuasca ceremony, and she said that she died, and in that moment she was like, I don't want to die because I haven't done everything that I wanted to do. And so from that moment of coming back to life, she was basically saying to not take tomorrow for granted because it's not guaranteed. And so that kind of spoke to us in the sense of not putting things off any longer. Like, there will never be the right time. You will never be as perfect as you would want it to be or yourself to be. And you just have to start with where you are, because you will get pushed off the cliff, off the edge to take that leap of faith. But all that's needed within is trust within yourself and God, the foundation that you're building, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to go into things blindly every time.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I think that there's always better waiting for you. I think people get stuck with, like, I worked so hard to get here, and God is just telling you that there's going to be something better.
There's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when you feel like you're starting from scratch. Like, even when you feel like, oh my God, I like just lost everything. But when you lose everything, that just means you're gaining something new.
Right.
And that's always better. Because you also done learn a lesson too. So,
You're making the space.
Yeah, you're making the space. You're taking out the old and bringing in the new.
Yeah. Makes me think of Steve Harvey when he said that he wanted a new car. And his mom was like, you're not going to get one because you still got that old car.
You got that old one parked outside on that blocks, not, just sitting there. Like, what are you waiting for? It's trash. It's done. You can't bring in a new one. You ain't got no space to bring in a new one.
So if we were to sum this up to energy, we're looking at the 5 of Pentacles. This is like a sense of lack, but understanding that lack comes from maybe some trauma, in a sense of feeling abandoned or neglected or not good enough. And those are the moments when you really have to start affirming to yourself that you are worthy and deserving of more. I used to tell people in my private sessions, love-wise, that if you thought that you had good times and great times with an unhealthy, toxic person or relationship, then could you only imagine being with the right person and having great times, like in a healthy sense? And for me, that was my hope, to keep going and not stay stuck in half-ass situations that just were not fulfilling, or that I consistently tried to find the goodness in just to keep a positive mindset in some sense, because eventually it does start to tear you down. It starts to weigh you down, and it puts yourself in this mental state of feeling like this is all you're worthy of or deserving of, or that you're capable of achieving. And I mean, even outside of relationships, it's going into your career or life in general, the things that you accept. I think what I've been in your ear about all week is like the word humble, like being humble.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm starting to see that in a different light, where I will always remain humble and have gratitude for what I'm given and the life that I'm living. But I'm just over accepting less than. Right. I'm over taking the short end of the stick, because I feel like collectively we've all had years and seasons of taking what has been left for us, the scraps.
Right. Being humble, be like, oh, it could be worse than this.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like, I don't want to settle for this. Like,
when you don't have to, because you honestly wake up every day and give your all. So at what point, are you deserving of more? And so this Five of Pentacles energy is definitely speaking on seeing yourself in the way that you truly are working towards. Given the example here, it was speaking on how this person in the illustration is dressed in summer clothes, but the season is winter. And I feel like you and I have had that moment of living in Mexico and feeling like our clothing does not match our lifestyle here.
Right.
And it seems to throw that balance off. So, I mean, clothing is more of like a surface level example, but it's something easy enough for you guys to grasp what we're saying. Like, you have to match the energy of the things that you are manifesting. You have to see yourself in the light in which you want to show up in.
Right. Or get out of that poverty mindset where, like, you feel like the physical doesn't have to match the mental, right? Like you said, I mean, surface level wearing clothes. Like, we in Mexico and we wearing like athletic clothes all day and workout clothes, and in our mind we want to be wearing linens and
relax and
fancy and right,
enjoying
like by the beach.
Yeah.
The idea is like it's way more than what we actually are in the physical, and we got to change our mindset that we got to create that for ourselves. Like, we don't have to wear rags anymore when we know we should be in riches. Like,
yeah, it also goes to the perspective of like not looking how you feel. So like, you don't have to not put any energy and effort into yourself because
it's hot outside and you're sweaty.
Yeah,
and
you don't feel motivated or driven. I feel like you're always going to have days where you may feel up and then days you may feel down, but the one thing you can do is always something that's going to make you feel good about yourself to turn your life around.
Yeah.
Right?
I think if you look good, then you feel good, and then you do good, right? In basketball, like, that was my big thing. Like, everything, when I dressed up, I wanted to match. Like, my shoes had to go with my uniform. It had to be clean. And when I went out there on the court feeling good and looking good, like, I played good. I was on, like, take my picture, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like being ready.
Right. And I think the real side of this is kind of like, I feel like I've been more of a negative Nancy lately as far as like where we are in life right now. Just, I feel like it's lacking a lot of the excitement or adventure that we're seeking. And I found myself waking up being like upset or complaining, even though I realized that I need to appreciate the things that do keep me going. I think my biggest frustration, like us working out, gyms, they suck here. And so it's just like, dang, we don't have a nice gym. It's hot as hell outside. It's hard for me to be motivated to get up and want to do anything. But when I turn that into gratitude, it's being grateful that I even have the ability to move my body and to still walk and to go outside and feel the sun and sweat. It's trying to turn your mindset around in the best ways that you can. Now, do I say that I wake up and still don't complain? Not really, but not as much. You know, like we took our walk this morning and I was all in my head about it, but the more I started getting into it, the more, you know, I got out of my head. So if you are feeling stagnant or stuck in life right now, it's finding some momentum, finding some way to get things moving and going. I used the example of us on the channel moving to Mexico. We were waiting for our passport for like a year. And we finally, even though the passport process was out of our hands, we just got to a point in our life where we were like, we're about to start packing. We're about to start selling our stuff. We're going to make this
start moving forward.
This happen.
Right. We're going to start opening this stuff up.
Yes. Right? We were just at a point in life where we were ready to get going. And that is something to always come back to for us when we feel like we're stuck or we don't have any control or we don't know, like, what to do next. Is just preparing yourself and getting ready so that you don't feel hopeless and helpless, because the Five of Pentacles energy is all about keeping you in this mindset that you, again, are not worthy of anything more or can have anything more or even have control to manifest or bring in more into your life. So that is kind of clarified with the Magician energy. So the power is within you. And when we talk about manifesting, you have to pay attention to your mindset, because what you think about, what you focus your mind on is what you're going to attract and manifest.
Create in your reality.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's remembering the power that you hold within. And again, other things and people can play parts into our lives being the way that they are, but ultimately you have the say-so. You are in control of yourself. And if you find yourself in situations or environments and places that you don't want to be in, then it's about you changing your mindset and knowing that you are deserving of more and you're worthy of achieving it. We're firm believers that, like, if we believe it, there's a way to achieve it.
Right. I think the first step is preparing yourself for the change. Sometimes you don't know what to do to make that change, but if the universe is going to force you to change, you got to be ready for it. So you don't feel like you're blindsided or like you don't have things in order.
Right. So that then brings out this Page of Wands energy, and that's your baby step. That's taking that first step. So yeah, going into a new beginning is like rebirthing yourself. For example, like a baby, you got to start off crawling first before you walk, right? But once you get your crawling down and you find your balance standing up, you start taking those steps moving forward. But it's also, again, just keeping the mindset that anytime you wipe a slate clean and you go into a new beginning, you're going to have to find your balance so that you can start moving again.
And just always see the beauty in the small things, you know? See the beauty in where taking the baby steps is going to get you then running.
Right. Yeah, life is definitely about the journey and the process. It's not about the destination, because all of your like value comes from the things that you experience in order to get there. That's what makes it worth it. And that's why people who take shortcuts and they cheat their way into things never know how to hold on to it or truly find the fulfillment within it, because they didn't have to go through a struggle or an experience to really value it, right? It makes me feel like a kid who gets cars in high school. Like, I was a kid who got a car just handed to me in high school. And not that I neglected my car, but I didn't care too much about like the upkeep of it. I didn't know, you know, the the cost of like money or
Right.
upkeep, until I bought my first car out of my own money that I worked hard for, and then I cherished that bad boy. But I think it's like holding on to that perspective is always going to be worth it in the end, especially if you have a journey and an experience to
Right.
have a testimony from.
Right. So
Life
stop
is-
like moving in a temporary mindset and move with longevity. Like anything you do, expect it to last in the long run, and not just something in the moment.
Right. And I think one thing that you and I spoke on very early on in our relationship was, if people only realize that things don't take as long as you would think that they would, like before we met, we were both in this mindset of like, we're just going to put our head down and work. And we were open to a relationship, but we kind of felt like it was going to be a while before that happened.
Yeah.
But the more that we focused on healing ourselves and working on ourselves, we found each other. And so I feel like this is kind of that same understanding that you may feel as though starting over or taking a leap on the unknown will take you forever to get going. But ironically, this 5 of Pentacles turned into a 10 very quickly.
Right.
So you're going to go from like A to Z before you know it. But again, it's enjoying the journey within it, because I feel like it's us living in Mexico that leap of faith of moving out here at the end of 2021 has now turned into 2 years.
Right. It's just a memory, and you like, dang, we did all that.
It's gone. It's then came and
We
went.
got this far, and we already thinking on like, what's next, where to next, or,
Do you ever feel like you will never be happy or satisfied? Do you always feel like it will be wanting more?
I think that's just a natural human thing, is to always want more. But I guess it's about like, it's not always about what you want, but getting what you need in order to reach some type of peace.
Yeah. I think it's about deepening things, the value of things, because I used to wonder if I was a person who just would never be like satisfied, but no, it's just always knowing that there's evolution and growth in things. Like even our
journey never
relationship,
ends.
like
Yeah.
it just deepens
Yeah.
all the time. And it's like, dang, like just when you think it can't get no deeper, it ends up getting deeper, you know? And so I feel like that's life. It may not change like physically in major ways, but how you see it and experience it and feel within it will be the growth or the wisdom.
Right. Right. I think not wanting more kind of just gets boring after a while.
Keeps you
You
complacent.
get stuck. It puts you in a stuck place. So you should always expect change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, God gives you what you need, not what you want. There's so many things be like, oh, I want this. And then you get it and you're like, girl, I don't wasted money on this thing. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I could take this back. You want it so bad. And then, like you said, with your car, you get it and then you don't value it. So,
No, but then you end up realizing that what you need ends up being what you want.
What you
all
really-
along
right.
anyways. So
Right.
God always knows best.
right.
So yeah.
So go with the flow.
Go with the flow every time. So that was our quick little energy read check-in for today. I hope you guys resonated with it. Thanks for vibing out with us.
Yeah. And remember to take out the old and bring in the new.
And believe in you. Because God got you. And you got you. We love you guys. And we will talk to you in the next one. Bye.